Hello and welcome, and finally, it's time for the playoffs pick'ems of Americas. We're here, guys. There's been some crazy games. I mean, this week, um, I predicted some upsets. There wasn't really any upsets this week. I wouldn't argue. Like Crew beat 100 Thieves. They looked back in form. Then maybe NRG Lev could be a bit of an upset, but I feel like that was more of a coin toss game, and NRG. I feel like maybe you could argue it was an upset that NRG looked that dominant, but other than that, I feel like yeah, Leviathan just got absolutely rolled by NRG, which I didn't predict. So maybe you could call that an upset, but other than that, I feel like most games went as they could should have. I mean, the EG Loud game was a fucking like for no reason at all, just a fucking giga banger. Like holy fuck! If you haven't watched that game, go back and at least watch map one. Like at least watch map one of that game, cause like I don't think you understand, man. Like just so you understand, right? Going into this game, map one, Lotus Loud one 1311, right? Sure, Luke, Show, Pancati, the oh my god, they went insane, right? And Stupo went also kind of crazy, right? And holy shit, how the fuck did Loud lose this game? The Loud barely almost lose this game. But then you go to this and you see the amount of like multi kills this map had, and like the amount of multi kills this entire series had, the amount of clutches. Like this game was fucking ridiculous. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Go watch it right now. At least watch the Lotus, but watch the entire game if you can. But yeah, going into this playoff, this is going to be really fun. I mean, we're probably going to see. I would say this is probably going to be like the first couple of games are probably going to be pretty easy, and then later down the line in playoffs, it's going to be a bit more difficult. But yeah, we start off with MIBR 100 Thieves, and as I said, the early games I think are going to be pretty easy, as I do think MIBR is pretty obviously the second best team. Maybe you could argue Crew, but other than that, I think MIBR and G2 are just the two best teams in the region right now. Now, going into the second game, Sentinels versus C9 is another story. Holy shit, that's another story. That's going to be an absolute gigabanger. We have the American playoffs chokers playing Sentinels. Also, this is like if you don't count 100 T Sentinels, this is probably the second game that you could argue is like the El Clautico of Americas. Like this is that sort of game, right? Two of the biggest orgs in the league playing against each other. One, but you know what? Should I go on the narrative, or should I go C9 and how like the El Clautico here? Ooh. Should I? No, you know what? I'm gonna say that Cloud9 looks good. Start off. I'm gonna say that Cloud9 looks good to begin with, and then 100 Thieves is beating Energy, and Sentinels is beating EG. Now, G2 should beat C9, and I'm gonna say that will happen. We probably okay, yeah, we won't get another Cloudico, sadly, but and then MIBR will beat Crew. I do think, as I said, I'm gonna continue with this narrative. I do think these two are the top two teams in the region, and I don't think it's close. I think Crew MIBR is probably going to be a pretty close game, just simply because it's like two sort of Latin slash Brazilian teams playing each other, and it's gonna be a really fun game. But I just think overall, MIBR will just out out frag them. Like just I think MIBR has that sort of star power that Crew sort of misses in a way. I think. Although Crew has obviously like the Castnets and like the Shies who are absolutely incredible, I don't think they're of the level of like an Aspas, right? Or like a Verno. I genuinely think Verno is like better than every single player on Crew. Like they have these sort of players that are like you could argue them star players, but I would argue them like if they were on like a top team in the world, like they would be sort of like this secondary star player. Like they're not like the best players in the world. Well, I think Verno and Aspas both are players that like potentially could be best players in the world in their role, like or like top 5, top 10 players in the world in their role. And I don't think Crew has those sort of players in their roster. And I think that's sort of what's probably going to be the deciding factor in this game and why I think MIBR will win. Also, I do think MIBR has a bit of a more consistently just high quality. Um, and yeah, so yeah. I'm picking MIBR to be Crew. Now going into C9 100 Thieves. This one is a bit of a different story. This is where I'm like, this is where it's difficult for me. I actually am really. I could go for Sen beating Crew as like a big upset, right? And then I go 100 Thieves keeping on with the narrative of being playoff strokers, and 100 Thieves beats them. They just get a, maybe they have like a really close game to Sentinels and just barely wins. And then Sentinels goes on a playoffs run in the lower bracket to make Toronto. That would actually be really fun. And then we would also get the El Clautico. Like, yeah. Okay, I think I'm going for that, yeah. We're gonna have 100 Thieves, Sentinels, and Sentinels beat 100 Thieves, and we're gonna have this. Holy shit. This is actually the script, though. This is actually the script. Hmm. Ooh, I have the script. I have the script. I have the script. We're actually gonna have MIBR beating G2 in the upper final. So G2 have to go through the lower finals, beating Sentinels, then beat MIBR in the grand finals. Ooh. This could be the wrong order, and if it is, then I'm fine with that, but still. And it could just be G2, G2. But if this happens, let me tell you, if this happens, this would be such an insane playoffs. Like, such an insane playoffs to happen. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. This playoff should be so much fun, man. It really should be like so much fun. But yeah, I'm submitting this. There we go. Um, this should be like such bangers, man. I do think these three should be pretty easy. But other than that, I mean, every single game here is like a coin toss. Like, sure, you might argue that like G2 is still like the unbeaten team and like they should win every single game they play. But I feel like it's such a coin toss, man. It really is. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be my result. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with this and just have this game be G2 absolutely destroying MIBR. I'm gonna say that G2 absolutely destroys MIBR here because I think this is more likely. And then MIBR beats Sentinels, um, and this time this is like the lower bracket final of kickoff, um, repeat, and then you get, but MIBR absolutely destroys Sentinels this time, and then you get the finals, and MIBR looks a lot more close to G2, and then G2 will have a similar story to like Fnatic before Tokyo where they lost to Team Liquid, but it's more going to be like a really close game where G2 managed to just scrape by. And then going into Toronto, they're going to be like, they're going to have fixed all the problems that MIBR shows them in the finals, and then they're going to go and win the entire event. I think that's going to be the thing that happens. Let's go. That's going to be it. All right, good. Let's go. Let's go. All right. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.